This is Karen Tully reporting from the Republican Women of Baltimore County monthly meeting. And we have someone with us that has joined us today from Texas. And your name is Dorothy
Herrera Niles.
Herrera Niles, and she was the director of Homeland Security for Maryland. And I wanted to talk a little bit about legal versus illegal immigration, because I think it's important that people realize that we are all for legal immigration. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Our country is based on, we're basically a country of immigrants. And I think that legal, lawful immigration is absolutely part of who we are.
Now, I know you have been in some very critical places, such as El Paso on the border, Boston during the Boston Marathon, and you've also had a big exposure to those in Maryland and the MS-13. So could you talk a little bit about the dangers that are associated with illegal immigration?
So absolutely, if we don't control our borders, be it land border or airport borders, we are susceptible to bringing in persons that want to do harm to our country or to our community.
Now, you've actually seen things with MS-13 and the violence of that. And unfortunately, we can't talk about these things on TV. And how do people know about it if we don't talk about it? Tell us some of the particular crimes you've seen associated with MS-13 right here in Maryland.
Sure. Before I retired in 2018, we had a huge influx of juveniles across the U.S.-Mexico border. That being said, mixed in the group was a large amount of criminal aliens. Even minors were amongst these criminals. We had assassins in the group. We had documented gang members. And even those that were not gang members when they arrived here, they were quickly sucked up into the gang families here that were already established in Maryland. That being said, a lot of the initiations for the gang involve shootings, crimes against other persons, very violent crimes, and you're correct. A lot of these instances were not fully portrayed in the media. And as a result, we had very violent murders happening in our state parks here in Maryland. You may recall that we actually found corpses that had been decapitated. We actually had one individual that was disfigured. His heart was ripped out of his body. We had spines that were severed, and some very, very violent, heinous crimes that were committed with these international gang members.
It's just terrible, and they're recruited. Now, I have a question for you. It's a personal question to me. They talk about undocumented children. Now, of course, the United States wants to take care of children. We do a very good job of that. First, could you briefly describe some of the things that we provide when an immigrant or a child comes into this country? Briefly, please, okay?
Certainly. So initially, when individuals are apprehended at the border, including unaccompanied children, they are turned over to the Health and Human Services, and of course their medical and other issues are addressed at that time.
Now, here's what I'm wondering. When they say that so many children are lost, is that because many come over without parents at all and you can't originally track them? Is that part of the problem?
So I think it's a more complex problem. Some juveniles are being sent up here without their parents. They're being smuggled in by smugglers that basically don't have any stake in the game with regard to the family. They're just basically bringing these children across the U.S. border. And as such, unfortunately, for a whole variety of reasons, these children can be separated from their parents either while being smuggled or because they're sent unaccompanied. And there's no way to know exactly in each instance what all transpired.
That's such a shame. Now, how do you feel about a Biden-Trump administration and how they'll be handling immigration or illegal immigration in our country?
Well, I think if President Trump continues to be president, of course, I think he'll be very proactive and very, very supportive of enforcing our nation's Immigration Nationality Act laws. Of course, we've already seen a preview with the Obama-Biden administration where they allowed tens of thousands of children to become separated from their parents and bring them into this country. I would only hope that they do a better job than they did last time, because a lot of these children were brought in and sucked into the gang life once they arrived by documented gang members.
Well, I want to thank you, because the American people and the Republican women of Baltimore County want to inform people factual information about what's truly going on. And sometimes these things don't sound good. But how do you know it's going to happen if we don't state that? Thank you all you've done for the United States of America. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure.